All right. Thank you for joining me. My name is Brian Banks from Your Career Day. Appreciate you spending time with me to share some insight on your career. Can you give us your name?
So my name is Anthony Henry.
Okay. And where's your hometown?
My hometown is Lansing, Michigan, but currently residing in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. All right. What is your career title?
So right now I'm a junior UX designer for Toyota here in North America right now.
Okay. And what does that job entail?
So basically, I'm a UX UI designer. UX stands for user experience design. UI stands for user interface design. They kind of cross paths a lot all the time. So
Mhm.
my daily task is to basically help uh, design the screens that you see within your vehicles to create a more user-friendly experience. So make sure that they look cool, they're easy to interact with while you're driving, while you're sitting still, and that things are just easy to find and just create the best experience possible for the driver and the passenger or whoever's using it in the car.
Okay. All right. What type of education is required?
So UX UI is still a relatively new career.
Mhm.
Um, it's maybe like mid to early 2000s when it really started to kick off, but it's been around since like the 80s, but it started to really come into play around the 2000s.
Mhm.
So right now, a lot of universities don't have a set like major that you can, do this in. So what I did personally, I came out of University of Michigan with my degree in architecture, then eventually switched careers. But during that career switch, there's different like certificate programs you can go into.
Mhm.
Um, and I did mine through a program called Design Lab and did that program, got a certificate, which helped me build a portfolio in order to kind of, sell to these companies that I know what I'm doing and I can
Yeah.
actually be able to land a job to get into the field. Um, so I guess there is no real education requirement. Some people just go into it just straight off of, applying whatever they have in their previous field
Mhm.
and transfer into it. Some do a certificate program. And there are a few universities, not many, that offer like somewhat of a UX major. Human interface design is typically one, or computer programming.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a few different routes you can go into in order to get into this field.
Okay. All right. What type of person is best suited for this type of career?
Ah, for a UX UI designer, I would say somebody that's so within UX UI, you have your designer and then you have your researcher. So if you go to design route, which is what I am, I would
Mhm.
say somebody needs to be, creative. You need to be kind of analytical and be able to have empathy for other people as far as like so for example, me as a designer, I can think, okay, if somebody is driving this vehicle, how many times do they need to look at the screen while still being safe, paying attention to the road? So being empathetic of like those type of situations, whether it's in a car or on your phone, certain apps are easy to use than others. Just think about, the
Right.
frustrations you have with certain apps. So creative, empathetic, analytical. I would say those are the top main three on the design side. On the researcher side, so you're more so looking at doing like the research. Okay, how many of these users have issues with this issue?
Hmm.
How many users enjoy this feature? So with that, definitely more analytical over there.
Right.
Empathy as well. I guess with them, I would say, I guess creative too. Same three things, just I guess in a different order. So the
Okay.
creative is more on the left side on that end.
All right. So what makes this job fun, interesting, or exciting? Or all of the
Man,
above?
it's all of it.
Okay.
It's fun, interesting, and exciting because for one, it's fun. Like the people I work with are really cool. Like they're really like down to earth, and it's like I enjoy being creative. And this job gives me an opportunity to kind of be as creative as I want to be
Yeah.
for the most part. And then it's exciting because the things that you're designing, you're going to see in real life, in a few years. So
Right.
right now, everything I'm designing for will be in vehicles that's coming out, I believe, within the next like 4 or 5 years. It's not like the next vehicle, but it's like vehicles down the line. So
Okay.
we're trying to find ways to like innovate and like create for um, that future system, that future design of the car. So just seeing the things that I'll be working on, like physical, that you can interact with millions of
Right.
vehicles across the world, super exciting.
Okay. All right. Now, what advice would you give to someone that might want to follow in your footsteps?
My advice would be, um, learn to apply what you already know to this career. A lot of people are a little nervous to come into UX UI because they feel like they don't have the knowledge or the training to really get into it. And like I said earlier, there is no like set path. Like you can find UX UI in pretty much almost anything you want to do. So UX, for example, if you're a grocery bagger at Kroger or Meyer, that's UX if you think about it, because when you're bagging the groceries, you're trying to figure out the best user experience for that person that's carrying the groceries in the house. For example, you don't put the bread under the, under the big old heavy meat, you're finding the best experience for that person to basically unbag their stuff when they get home. Like that's right. UX at the end of the day. It's just different mediums. So finding a way to apply whatever career you're in now, if you plan on switch careers, applying whatever career you're in now into UX. And that way you can, using that type of like thinking in your interview for a job like this would definitely help the employer let them know that you want that position. So
that's good. That's good advice. I didn't think about UI and UX and those, different contexts, but that's a great analogy. So people can kind of understand what it's about. So
right.
Thank you for that. That was really down to earth and really basic. Yeah. That's good, because I don't know all the time exactly what these things are. So, sharing that with our viewers is going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So any other advice you would have for our viewers, UI, UX, or anybody that might want to, go down the same path as you?
Yeah, just start researching. Like, so before UX UI, I was an architect. So I was in architecture, doing architecture from 2016 through 2020. The reason why I switched is because the pandemic hit, and the firm that I was working for at the time specialized in K through 12 and higher education design, so schools. And of course, nobody's building schools during the pandemic, so they had to let a lot of people go. And I was one of the people that got let go, unfortunately. But that gave me the opportunity kind of to figure out, okay, like what can I do that's not so, economy based. It's not so focused on, one aspect of this certain field. But I feel like UX UI covers everything.
Yeah.
You do UX for cars, you do UX for phones, apps, computers. Apple actually has a UX UI design department for their boxes, like the packaging that you get your computers and phones. They have designers just for those boxes. So it can go across any field. But I started doing my research on YouTube, and then from there, started looking like, okay, what kind of education do I need? I decided to go the certificate route. And that's how I ended up here. So yeah, do your research. It's relatively easy and it's fun. So
okay, great. Well, thank you, Anthony. I appreciate your time, and good luck to you in the future.
Thank you.